To have a seat here. Do we have chairs out in the lobby, Alicia? No, we don't. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Good evening. Good evening. Nice. Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera City Council and special meeting of the Madera City Council as the Groundwater Sustainability Agency. Tonight is Wednesday, the 2nd, 2024. It is now 6 p.m. The Madera City Council meetings are open to the public. This meeting will also be available for public viewing and participation through Zoom. Members of the public may also observe the live stream meeting on the city's website at www.madera.gov/live. Members of the public may comment on agenda items at the meeting or remotely through an electronic meeting via phone by dialing 669-900-6833. Enter ID 873-8756-0010 hashtag. Comments will also be accepted via email at citycouncilpubliccomment@madera.gov or by regular mail at 205 West 4th Street, Madera, California, 93637. I hereby call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Alicia, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos.
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez. Absent. Councilmember Montes.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Mejia.
Here.
And Councilmember Villegas.
Here.
Thank you, Alicia. I would like to make a comment. The City Council has received a notice from Councilmember Mejia that she will be participating in today's meeting via teleconference due to emergency circumstances due to AB 2449, as she has a family medical emergency that prevents her from attending the meeting in person. Based on this, requirements under the Brown Act, Government Code 54953, which came into effect on January 1st, 2023, per AB 2449 have been met. The city meets all of the requirements for this teleconference meeting. All votes will be by roll call. Would you all please rise for the invocation led by Jim Garrison, United Methodist Church?
Let us pray. Lord our God, we give you thanks for this day. Lord, we give you thanks for this valley and the richness of our land and for the richness of the people that live here. We thank you for our city leaders. And Lord, especially we lift up as during this season as we're approaching elections, all of us, for whether local or national, we lift up those that are campaigning and dealing with campaigns and the stresses that brings. We ask that you would, especially among our local leaders, allow those stresses of campaigning not to interfere with a good relationship between the people. And we ask for your blessings on this meeting. And we thank you for the wonderful things that the proclamations are recognizing and the important awarenesses that need to be made. We thank you for decisions that have to be made about things that seem mundane, but are very important to our safety and our health and our livelihood and the economics of our area and for the justice of the area. So we just thank you for your spirit, and we ask now that you would work through all that happens here, through the comments from the public, through the deliberations of the council, and through votes and decisions, that good things would happen here in Madera. And we give you thanks and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
We will now have the flag salute led by Councilmember Artemio Villegas.
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alicia, could you announce Jose?
And for the record, Mayor, Councilmember Jose Rodriguez has arrived to the meeting.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you much. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda. I will ask my colleagues if there's any changes or additions to the agenda. Alicia, do you have something?
Mayor, can we announce that we have a translator
Absolutely.
available this evening?
Para algunas personas que necesitan traducción en español, por favor, levanten la mano y aquí tenemos asistencia. Si alguien necesita traducción. If there's anyone who needs a translation from Spanish to English, we also have translation available. Okay, I think we're good. That was easy. Huh? All right. We have a request from the Fresno, Madera, Tulare, Kings County Building Trades to move item F, future agenda items, to the front of the agenda, which is behind the consent calendar. I'd like to ask my colleagues to vote along with me to approve that, if you would. To move it. You push the buttons, remember?
Oh.
We got to push the buttons.
I'm so sick of this button thing already.
I'm sorry, if I heard you correctly, Mr. Mayor, that was item F, which
Yes,
is the,
future agenda items.
Okay.
Three. And then myself would be four.
And don't forget Councilwoman Mejia.
Yeah, do we have your hand raised, Councilwoman Mejia?
I actually have a question. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Yes. On the basis of what?
This agenda item is asked to be moving forward because we have a heavy agenda today, and then we have some members of the building trades that need to leave after this item has been called.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so that item will be moved up to after the consent item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Actually, we need a roll call, or we just go based upon the buttons?
We need a roll call in this particular
Okay.
instance.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, before we move on this, I know this is a future agenda item. This isn't a request of someone from the public, or is this a request from someone here within our dais?
So I'm making the request.
Okay, you're making the request.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I heard the building trades.
Yeah.
If that was the case, then I'd say they can do that on public comment.
Is there anyone else wanting to make a adjustment to the agenda? Anything else? Otherwise, we'll approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda. Alicia, would you call the roll, please?
And that's as modified, right, Councilwoman Evans? Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos?
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilmember Montes?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Mejia?
Yes.
Councilmember Villegas?
Yes.
Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Comes the fun part. Could I have the Mesa Directiva de Santa María Tindu aquí, por favor? Can I have the groups here present?
Should I have point of order, Mayor? So I believe that Councilmember Mejia wanted to do the presentation. Okay.
Go there. That's number 2.
Okay.
Pásale. Pueden pasar los que quieran.
She wanted to do the presentation for
So we are going to be presenting a proclamation in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day, and I'm now going to introduce Councilmember Elsa Mejia, who's on Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor. Muchas gracias, Alcalde García. Hola a todos. Disculpen por no poder haber estado presentes, como ya mencionaron, por una cuestión fuera de mi control. Can you hear me? Just to double check.
Yes.
Okay. Se me hizo muy importante reconocer a la mesa directiva de Santa María Tindú, quien han estado presentes en Madera durante más de 30 años. Durante todas estas décadas han servido voluntariamente a nuestra comunidad de Madera y Es muy admirable la manera en que se organizan, la manera en que ustedes con su labor traen cultura, traen gastronomía, música y mucho más a la comunidad de Madera y a la vez no se olvidan de sus raíces. Todos los miembros que en algún momento formaron parte de, que ahora sirven o que en el futuro, a través de su ejemplo, servirán a la mesa directiva de Santa María Tindú, tienen un gran ejemplo, tienen una gran trayectoria a la cual referirse. Eso brinda intercambio cultural, brinda una riqueza cultural a nosotros los ciudadanos de Madera. Es por eso que es muy importante reconocerlos y a través de esta proclamación del Día de los Pueblos Indígenas, valorarlo y destacarlo más que nada. Gracias a todos los que están presentes, gracias a todos los que algún día sirvieron a la mesa directiva y gracias a todos los que apoyan a la mesa directiva de Santa María Tindú. Gracias.
Could you now take a moment to repeat in English?
I absolutely will. Thank you, Mayor. I said that I would love to recognize la mesa directiva de Santa María Tindú, this board of directors for the town of Santa María Tindú in Oaxaca has for more than 30 years lived in Madera and served our community of Madera through various ways, including organizing an annual event called El Festival de la Chilena. And through that event, a lot of people, not only in Madera, but different parts of California and other states have come to Madera to enjoy music, food, and the cultural celebration of the richness that this festival brings. So it is very admirable that folks who are currently serving in the Mesa on a voluntary basis have been able to do this for such a long time, not only the ones that currently serve, but the ones that have served in the past and the ones that will continue to serve because they're inspired by this work. So thank you very much for all of the cultural richness you bring to our community of Madera. It is very important for us. So it's important for you to have received this proclamation for Indigenous Peoples Day and representation of all of the great work that you do for Madera. Thank you.
On behalf from the City of Madera, Office of the Mayor Proclamation for Indigenous Peoples Day. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Santos Garcia, Mayor of the City of Madera, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim October 14th, 2024 as Indigenous Peoples Day. Felicidades.
Hello. Okay. Just to add a little bit more of what Elsa Mejia said is that everything that we do, it's mainly to help our little town in Oaxaca. All that money that we fundraise through events, you know, as far as selling food, dances, bringing our tradition over here, it's at the end is the money that goes back to the little town. Back in '94, it started with a few members. Now we have our own board, which, you know, it's like she said, is volunteer work. And through those 30 years, now we can see roads on our town instead of little trails. We actually have power, which is in part of that town. It's, I mean, hours from the main city. So all this work, at the end of the day, all this money that we fundraise, at the end of the day, goes to the town. And that's our goal, is to keep going, you know. I mean, I don't know for how long, but hopefully the younger people that are behind us, you know, keep going back. But this started back in 1994. Thank you.
Thank you, Heriberto. And Mayor, if I may, I just want to add that there is a street in Santa Maria Tindú called Madera, for all of the residents of Madera to know that. So it is cultural exchange. There's Madera Street in Santa Maria Tindú.
Thank you. Pásale en centro. Estoy gordito.
Ready, 1, 2, and 3.
Felicidades. Muchas gracias. Good more. Could I have Ms. Caroline Williams Harrell, please, and Councilmember Evans? Yeah. So how are you?
I'm here. Thank you.
Just come up here. This is from the office of the City Council. It's regarding Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'll now introduce Councilmember Evans.
Wait.
Well, I guess I could. You want me to read, or you want to read? Okay. So again, from the Office of the Mayor proclamation, this is for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas October is nationally recognized as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, providing an opportunity to raise awareness about the importance of early detection, education, and treatment in the fight against breast cancer. Whereas it is important to support individuals and families affected by breast cancer, recognizing their courage, resilience as they navigate diagnosis, treatment, and recovery. Whereas Caroline Williams Harrell, a resident of the city of Madera, is a remarkable example of the courage and resilience, having been diagnosed with breast cancer in 1997 and facing a recurrence in 2003. Caroline is now a 27-year breast cancer survivor, demonstrating the strength and hope that drives a light against this disease.
Yes.
Congratulations. Nita?
Wow. On behalf of the Madera City Council, we would like to present this to you, and God bless you. Yes, I would. Got some notes here somewhere. Good evening. I first want to thank my Lord and Savior for being here for 27 years since that first diagnosis of breast cancer. And I also want to thank the mayor, the entire city council, especially Councilwoman Anita Evans for nominating me for this honor this evening. And then I want to also pause to thank my family and my friends who are here from near and far. I see you out there. I see you in the pink, and I really appreciate your taking time from your busy schedule to come out and be a part of this celebration tonight. There are more than 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States, and I'm just one in the number. And anyone else who is in this room that has survived breast cancer, I'm not wearing a hat tonight, but I would take my hat off to you if I were. And I just want to say that pink is more than a pretty color. We wear pink this month so that those around us will be aware of this disease and the fact that early detection is really what we strive for. The earlier we can find breast cancer, the better the survival rate. So again, Pink for me stands for faith and courage and strength. And again, I thank the council and I thank God and I thank all of you that are here this evening. The race is not over. It's not over until there's been a cure. And so we're going to keep fighting the good fight. And again, thank you for being here and thank you for your support and your love.
Sure. You're looking good.
Well, you dropped it.
Oops, my pink papers. One, two, three.
That's a good Oh my God. I just want to cry.
Thank you.
Simon, could you join me? Where are you? I thought I saw you. I'd like to welcome City of Madera ADA Vice Chairperson Saeem Mohammed to the podium here. This is a proclamation in honor of Disability Awareness Month, whereas October is nationally recognized as Disability Awareness Month, a time to promote inclusion, equity, and opportunities for individuals with disabilities, while fostering public understanding and acceptance. And whereas individuals with disabilities contribute significantly to the diversity, strength, and resilience of our communities, bringing unique talents, skills, and perspective to all aspects of life, including education, employment, arts, and civic engagement. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Santos Garcia, Mayor of the City of Madera, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Disability Awareness Month. Right here.
Good evening, everybody. So I'd just like to thank the Mayor, City Council for this proclamation. This proclamation serves as a reminder of our shared responsibility to promote inclusion, accessibility, and equal opportunities for all, especially our community. We look forward to continuing our work together to make our city a more inclusive place for everyone. Thank you.
How you doing,
Yeah. I can try and change it up. There you go.
I sure.
Sure, too.
Yeah, we're like, sure.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. More 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, everybody. Nice.
I don't want you to just stand there. Go with that. Go with that. So we should just stand there.
Told you guys it was going to be a little long tonight.
Said we will stand there.
Morning, dude. All righty. Maddie Mendez, Cap MC, could you please approach the podium, please? Hi. 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 This proclamation is in honor of and recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month, whereas October is recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, dedicated to raising awareness about the impact of domestic violence on individuals and communities. whereas domestic violence affects millions of individuals regardless of age, gender, or background, and creates an urgent need for community support, prevention, and intervention. Therefore, as hereby resolved, that I, Santos Garcia, Mayor of the City of Madera, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council. My name is Maddie Mendez, and I'd like to introduce Jennifer. And while she is speaking, I'm going to hand out some information and some pins in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Good evening and thank you. We would like to thank Mayor and Council members for acknowledging Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We would also like to thank our community partners such as law enforcement, Department of Social Services, and the District Attorney's Office. Domestic violence is a widespread social and public health crisis. It affects people of all classes, races, ethnicities, and sexualities. According to the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of physical violence by an intimate partner within their lifetime. As for Madera Victim Services, we have assisted 563 individuals. 26 of those were children. We've had 43 people at our shelter and provided 632 bed nights. And we also assisted 97 individuals to receive restraining orders. We would like everyone to join us on October 17th for National Domestic Violence Awareness Day, Wear Purple. And we also have our annual soup bowl event. Tickets are $15. It's basically a soup buffet, and you get a hand-painted, crafted bowl, and it's our awareness event. And if you are interested, we are selling them at Victim Services. Again, thank you, everyone, for your support.
Thank you for Nice to see you. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. I think when you
This is for the trip. This is the nice one.
right. Congratulations.
Hope you don't come up blurry and. All right. For this presentation, I'd like to invite my colleague, Jose Rodriguez, to make these proclamations. These are to our sponsors who every year have been contributed to our 4th of July fireworks show. Jose and I are both members of the Madera Kiwanis. Jose?
Thank you, Mayor. All right, looks like it's always good to see folks fill this room because it just says that, you know, we have a lot to be thankful for. So with that, I'll get started here. As you all know, this event has been part of our community tradition for maybe years that have predate me and maybe predate some of the council here. The city, along with other partners, have made the 4th of July a true spectacular event that has brought the day of patriotism and a day of fun for all the families. From food vendors, games, and the main event, which is the fireworks spectacular. Over the years, this event has moved from what I understand is town and country. Again, this predates me, over to the municipal golf course, district fair, and then made its way back to the district fair. And again, that can't be done without the support of a lot of the local donors and a lot of local supporters. So if I got the sequence wrong, though, let me know. I think it started at town and country, moved out to the district fair, municipal golf course, and now it's been back here. Now, with that, over the years, there's been times where we've had years that we don't celebrate that event, and that's due to budgetary issues that we've had here at the city. Since we are one of the lead partners and lead drivers to this event, sometimes that wasn't possible. So I know the community felt it. And that's huge. When the community feels the absence of that, it really, it just brings it down, right? I mean, one of the testaments that I heard from someone that was out there this year, the DJ that was out there, he said, I saw folks in droves coming in. And as they were exiting, he saw the same thing. And that just, again, that's to the point of what we say. This is a community event that brings us all together, brings our family together. Again, a lot of food, fun. I know it's hot. You get to bring your chairs, but at the end of the day, you get to view for 20 minutes. It seems like a long time, right? It seems longer than 20, 25 minutes, but it gives us that spectacular event that we're all waiting for. Kaboom, bam, bing, bang. And next thing you know, I mean, the show's over, but nevertheless, we get to enjoy the show. And before I get on to recognizing the people, I would be remiss if I did not thank this council for supporting it. This council is steadfast, has always supported this event, has been lead partners in it, and also has contributed to the event. I'd also be remiss if I did not recognize Mr. Rohi Sakaraya, who was here several months back, also recognizing him for his efforts, for him and his family. A lot of the challenges that he takes on is putting this thing together with a little bit of help. Like the mayor said, we belong to the Greater Madera Kiwanis. So along with the mayor, myself, and the rest of that Greater Madera Kiwanis, we also partnered up with the Evening Lions, the Madera Rotarians. So we did this as a service group effort and a community effort to bring this together. So that being said, I want to go ahead and take this time to recognize the people. So as I call your names, please stand up to be recognized. We'll go ahead and applaud. I'd like for you guys to come out here. And if you guys would like to give up some comments, please do so. And then we'll go back and take that picture. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and let's get you recognized. And again, these recognitions are on behalf of the City Council, recognizing for your generous sponsorship and invaluable contribution to the success of the 4th of July Fireworks Spectacular Show. So first off, we have Mid-Valley Disposal. If you please stand.
Yeah.
Can I get one of your representatives to come out here, please? And Mayor, if you'd like to say anything, please.
I'll find out. I'll just open these up for you.
Thank you.
In order.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'll have you stand here for a minute and then we'll have you give your words there. Fagundes Dairies and Farms. Thank you so much. Thank you. We also have Lynx Ranch. Thank you for the sponsorship. We have Embark Madera. I think I heard samples somewhere over here. Okay. We have Red Rock Environmental Group. Thank you again. Thank you. Alishire and Winder. And our legal counsel participates. Thank you. We have Madera Tribune.
Right.
Thank you for your contribution. And in attendance, last but not least, we have Madera Collection Services. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And not in attendance, I will say we had Spencer Enterprises, Labor Force Management, the Wilden Group, United Rentals, Span Construction, Central Valley Community Bank, and the biggest people here is the community. So I want to give you guys a round of applause. And at this time, I'll ask if any of the people up here would like to give us comments about, just a testament of how this really brings joy to a lot of our community. Not sure if the mayor would like to speak up on some words there, but that's the end of my presentation. Again, we couldn't have done this without your support. We look forward to continuing the partnership again, and hopefully we can bring this back every year for our community to enjoy. So with that, I'll leave anyone here if they want a couple comments there.
Thank you, Councilmember, Mayor, Council, Joe Heisdorf, Mid-Valley Disposal. I'll just say, Jose said it beautifully. These events really bring the community together, not just in the city, but really the entire area. And when city asked us if we could help out, it was a no-brainer. So we're blessed to be here. Thank you for the recognition tonight. It's very special, and look forward to doing it for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank the council and all the staff and police department for everything you guys do for the city. I went to school right down the street, so I love seeing this city prosper. And I wanted to say that first time at that golf tournament, but won't be my last. That was a lot of fun. It was really well run. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mela, and I'm here on behalf of Embark. And I just want to say thank you for the recognition. We're looking forward to future partnerships where we can create more opportunities to bring the community together. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Nasreen Johnson on behalf of the Caglia family and Red Rock Environmental. It's a local waste and recycling company. We're proud to be a sponsor. I know the Caglia family is very pleased to always be giving back to the community. Oftentimes our work, if we're doing it really well, you don't see it, right? It happens early in the morning, or, you put the trash out at the curb and it magically disappears. So it's really nice to have the recognition. And thank you, everyone.
Nazreen is much too humble. She is also a trustee with the State Center Community Colleges. So,
Thank you for the opportunity. My family and I have attended the fireworks events for many, many years. We love this community, and we're so grateful to be able to play a small role and it's such a wonderful event. So thank you very much.
I'm Nancy Simpson with the Madera Tribune, and I thank you for this recognition from the City Council and from the Mayor. The Madera Tribune loves this community, and we show it every opportunity that we can. And we are super excited about sponsoring this event, which I know everyone enjoyed so much. Thank you all.
Good evening, and I want to say thank you so much for the recognition. I'm from the city of Madera and in the City Council. Madera Collection Services is family-owned, operated, and we do everything that we can to support any event within Madera County, and especially the education process as well. So thank you so much for the recognition.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm kidding. You're talking from this side of the camera, huh? Qué bueno, because it's This is a resident pro golfer.
Thank you.
Yes. Y le iba a poner allá, pero. Everybody can turn sideways.
Sideways, but certificates for it. It should be in your time.
I'm not blocking you out.
You want to put it to size, or is that what you're saying?
Everybody show your certificates.
That's it. That's it. Oh,
show your certificates.
1, 2, and 3.
Oh, Thank you.
Yeah, sir. You guys are beautiful.
Shannon.
Yes, ma'am.
Give everybody a minute to.
Mr. Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
can we take maybe 5?
Now's the fun part. I don't know where you guys are going. We got about 3 hours of work.
We'll take a 3-minute recess for now so we can get organized again. Is that okay, Alicia? Okay, go ahead. Let's go ahead, Alicia. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. I know it's kind of like a little different, but we're good back on track now. We will now move on to public comment. The first 15 minutes of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the council on items which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speakers shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be asked, but are not required, to identify themselves and state the subject of their comments. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the mayor has the option of asking the speaker to hold a comment until that item is called. Comments on items listed as a public hearing on the agenda should be held until the hearing is opened. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the council does not respond to public comment at this time. Before I receive public comment, I think we have an announcement from the clerk, Alicia.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce that Councilwoman Mejia, left the meeting at 6:25. And since we have no council on Zoom, we are no longer required to take roll call votes for each item.
Thank you very much. If there's anyone now wishing to speak and approach the podium regarding public comment, you can please, if you can get closer, and then you have 3 minutes. And there is a timer on the monitor if you would just observe the 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Vincent Paul Enriquez. My address is 288 Posey Avenue, Madera, California. My phone number is 559-681-1130. I am the owner of Pablo Taxi. I am here to talk about the new taxi cab that was enlisted in Madera, Gold Taxi. They have only registered one vehicle with this code enforcement. Since then, I have been reporting to Claudia Mendoza and Maribel Hernandez about the new taxi cab violations. For example, some pictures I brought. But they're not registered with code enforcement or weights and measurements. Maribel Hernandez has violated 2 vehicles at the beginning and has got them to take off their logos and their taximeter. Since then, I have been dealing with Claudia Mendoza. She's been giving me the runaround for 2.5 years. Every time I tell her that the Gold Taxi has a new car illegally working, all she tells me is, Pablo, mind your own business. She is not doing her job right. I have dealt with Chief of Police back in January. He said he would resolve this in a month. We're 9 months down the road and haven't seen any results. Usually I talk to his assistant. Lieutenant Mark Adams has had some detectives do some work on them and found them in violation, and they're in the process of pulling their permit. Since then, I've been reporting to Claudia Mendoza that they have cars working illegally, but seems telling them just to leave them alone. And 3 weeks ago, I had an incident where they surrounded me with 4 vehicles. We had police officers come onto the site. 2 of those drivers did not even have license. And this was Officer Tristan asked, they returned later on that night to pick up those vehicles. That case number was 24M-06368. Out of these 9 drivers, 5 of them do not have driver license, and I believe 6 of them don't have legal documents to be here in the USA. This is a dangerous situation. Last Sunday, a driver for Madera Cab got beat up by one of these drivers that are not working illegally in the city of Madera. It doesn't stop there. They're taking young kids and teenage girls to school and back. Some of these girls have been telling us that they're asking them if they have boyfriends, can they have their social media. This is a very dangerous situation that Claudia Mendoza and Madera Police Department are playing. And if some of these young girls get molested or raped by any of these guys, there is no record in the database in live scan fingerprints in Madera Police Department. All they'll do is simply just go back to Mexico. My company has taken a bid due to them. I have taken a loss due to them working illegally. This is not resolving. I want this to be resolved by the end of the year. After 3 years working at this, I'm in the process of suing the City of Madera Police Department and Code Enforcement, Claudia Mendoza. Thank you. And can I leave these pictures with Steve Montes?
If you have any information, please give it to the clerk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else under public comment?
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lynette Cortez Howden, and I am a lifelong Madera resident and proud product of Madera Unified School District. My parental heritage is actually from Santa Maria Tindu, whose organization received a proclamation today, so that was a happy accident. I did not know that was going to happen. Both my husband and I have just deep roots here in Madera, and we are proud to be raising our 3 kids here. I'm also a math instructor at Madera Community College. I hold a leadership role there with faculty members there specifically, but I won't share that title today because I am not here on behalf of MCC faculty. I'm only here as myself, as a resident of Madera representing myself. I wish to express my disappointment that members of this council, including Mayor Santos Garcia and Council Member Jose Rodriguez, would give a public comment at the SCCD Board of Trustees meeting yesterday without being properly informed of the facts. For those who may be unfamiliar, MCC is part of the State Center Community College District, which also includes Fresno City College, Reedley College, and Clovis Community College. Their board meets once a month, and yesterday was the meeting at Madera. I implore you to just allow students, faculty, and administration at MCC the space to go about their processes and discussions without preemptively jumping the gun and speaking up on an issue, especially one that is so contentious right now. I also ask that if you are going to insert yourself into the conversation, as is your right, because we are a public institution, that you do so by informing yourself of all the facts and being open to listen to all parties. I have seen you all around at the community events. I have followed the actions of this city council. I may not always attend the meetings in person, but I see the resolutions and the actions that you take. I largely support those, especially given that you all seem to care deeply and advocate for our most vulnerable populations. You all seem to care about social justice issues, and I applaud you all for that. I am with you on that. I consider myself to do similar work at the college. Because of that, though, I feel like I think we need to give each other just a little bit of grace, a little bit of benefit of the doubt. And again, if I feel like if you had all the information and all the background, you might have not given that public comment yesterday. So to conclude, I ask that members of this council, including the mayor, refrain from making public endorsements or statements without a proper discussion or directive from its constituents. I am certain you have enough issues to address that are within the scope of your jurisdiction. And again, I'm just allowing for a little bit of grace and space as we work through ours at the college. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Could you provide our city clerk with your contact information?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other further public comment? Or anyone wishing to comment under public comment? We will close public. Oh, do we have any Zoom or written public comments, Alicia?
We have none, Mayor.
Okay. We will now close public comment and go to item B, consent calendar. Our city clerk has an announcement.
For item B6, the staff report for item B6 provides the updated recommendation for this item. So staff is seeking approval for item B6 with the recommendation as stated in the staff report.
Thank you very much. So under consent calendar, matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, a member of the public or a member of the council may request an item be removed from the consent calendar, and it will be considered separately. Do we have any members of the public wishing to discuss any items on the consent calendar? Do we have any Zoom or written comments, Alicia?
We have none, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We'll now close public comment, and I'll bring it back to my colleagues for discussion and or a motion.
I so move to approve the consent calendar as presented with the exception of B6 being changed.
Motion to approve the consent calendar by Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos, second by Councilwoman Evans. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We approved earlier when we adjusted the agenda, we will now move on to one of our last items, which is item F, because we've now moved it up behind the consent calendar. Item F is for future agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved to initiate new matters and to request updates and to initiate new agenda items. No single item may exceed 1 minute. All votes shall be conducted electronically with the results announced by the chair. If voting is not available by electronic methods, another method may be used by the chair unless otherwise determined by a majority of the council members present. Under this section, the council may take action only on items specifically agendized and which meet other requirements for action. So when we talk about electronic voting, we push our buttons here at the thing to be acknowledged as what we have. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is that I would like to add a future agenda item in which we direct the city staff to negotiate a CWTA, a community workforce and training agreement with the Fresno, Madera, Tulare, and Kings County Building Trades Council. Staff is to bring back a renegotiated agreement to be voted on all future City Madera projects exceeding $1 million per project. So I ask that be applied to our future agenda so we can have a discussion. I'm going to ask for my council to, if they approve, to push the buttons. 2.
I had a question, Mayor.
Yes.
Is Councilwoman Evans still, Mejia still online? Okay.
Council Mejia dropped out. So we have Councilmember Villegas and Councilwoman Evans. Are there any further? Okay, so mine is 3. So the motion fails because there's only myself, Councilmember Villegas, and Councilwoman Evans. So that motion fails.
I'm sorry, Mayor Garcia, if you will again, this item that you'd like to bring back is, can you be more specific as to what we're trying to accomplish with that? I just want to make sure.
So yeah, so a CWTA is a community workforce and training agreement. It's similar to in scope of the project labor agreement, so that we can get a project labor agreement for any projects that are built by the city over $1 million, and that includes the training for apprenticeship programs. So for the residents of Madera.
If I hear you correctly, are you wanting to have a presentation on that here so that we can discuss it? Because at this moment, I don't think we can get into depth with it, right?
That is correct. Okay. So this is to put it on the agenda at a future date, and so then we can have a fleshed out discussion.
Okay.
So we have a councilwoman. Did you want to speak on this, or you just want to approve it?
So with the change, so at first you said to have an agreement come forward, a negotiated agreement. What Councilmember Rodriguez said is to have an item come forward for essentially a workshop so that's different. So yeah, I'm voting for that.
Okay. So we have an approval, Councilwoman Evans, Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos, Councilmember Montes, Councilmember Rodriguez, Council Villegas, and myself. So thank you very much for that. Motion is approved to put it on the future agenda item. Are there any other agenda items that anyone would like to put on for our next council meeting?
It's a little premature for me. Typically, I like to do it at the end. I get my thoughts.
We can always bring it back, bro. We never close anybody off. Okay, so then now we will close that agenda item. We will put the CWTA in a future agenda, future meeting. Let me see. We have no workshops. We now move on to item D. Item D is petitions, bids, resolutions, ordinances, and agreements. Item D1 is a resolution establishing a Measure T annual work plan review. Keith, do you have this item?
Thank you, Mayor. I do not actually have the item, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce Troy McNeil from the Madera County Transportation Commission. He will be presenting regarding the recommendation to extend the annual public period for expenditures related to Measure T to 30 days. Kendall Flint is also online. She will be available for questions as well, in addition to Troy. Anyway, with that, I'll pass it to Troy.
Thank you, Keith, Mr. Mayor, and fellow council members. Wasn't fully prepared to do the staff report, but I know the item well enough. So as you know, there's a citizen initiative called Measure T that will be on the ballot. Through our steering committee process, we came up with an expenditure plan, and in that plan, we had a 30-day public review requirement. The citizens initiative measure that was filed and ultimately qualified for the ballot did not have that language. And so this item is to basically ask each of the County of Madera and the two cities, the city councils, to by resolution take action to commit to that 30-day public review period for all Measure T expenditures and plans. And this would begin, beginning in 2025. So with our current measure, even we would have that 30-day public review period. I will defer to Ms. Kendall Flint online to add any additional information. I think she has her hand raised. Can
we ask her to unmute herself or? Excuse me.
Ms. Flint, are you available?
Kendall Flint? Too many proclamations, I guess. Can you go forward, or we could come back?
Yes. No, I'm there. You just had to unmute me.
Welcome.
I apologize. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Just to reiterate, the difference between the two measures, between the Citizens Initiative and the steering committee, as Troy pointed out, is the one section. I'd like to remind council that this came before you previously, and I think all the jurisdictions, including the city of Madera, unanimously supported that. The reason that the 30-day window was so important was because the steering committee felt that not everyone was as well-versed, let's say, on annual work plans or the understanding of what a CIP was or what regional transportation plans were. The idea here is that on an annual basis, before adopting the budget for the next fiscal year, that each of the cities would extend and specifically identify what projects, streets, et cetera, would be funded by Measure T. Now, we realize that, especially in the case of the cities and mostly as it pertains to maintenance of local streets and roads, there may not be, a complete list, but the idea is we're going to do X number of road miles, whatever that looks like. And it's really a step towards transparency. I'd also like to point out that there has been some discussion from folks that have misrepresented these two things. The only difference between the two measures, again, is the fact that one is a citizens initiative and one is developed by the steering committee. The steering committee adopted this unanimously. Our hope is that if the cities all adopt this particular revision, that's the only thing that's different, except most importantly, it's now a straight 50% majority. Just for context, that was made possible by the state of California in 1911. This is not a new thing. It's part of Article 2 of the Elections Code. And if you look at Measure T-2024.com, we invite the public, as well as members of the City Council and others, to compare and contrast the two measures. You'll see that they are identical. You will also see a link to the Madera County Elections Code that specifies the difference between the two. And furthermore, you will also see a section that responds to Sierra Citizens, which is a group up in the eastern part of the county that alleges that somehow this is untoward and that they were going for a remake of the Madera County Transportation Commission and Authority boards. They were informed that in 2023 and then several times since that was not possible because both of those boards are formed by legislative action that's taken at the state level. And had that been something they were really interested in, perhaps they could have started that activity in 2022. So if people have questions about it, again, vote your conscience, vote yes, vote no, but at least get the facts on it. And we just are very excited that the city of Madera like the city of Chowchilla and the county, which took this action yesterday, was willing to take this up just to make sure that we were, in fact, in keeping with what the steering committee's intention was when they put the measure forward. And with that, I'm available to answer any questions you might have or any clarifications that either the council or others might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any further?
Nope, she said it great, and we're available to answer any questions.
Okay. Are there any members of the public wishing to discuss anything regarding item D1 regarding Measure T renewal? Alicia, do we have any written or Zoom comments regarding this item?
We have none, Mayor.
Thank you. We will now close public comment and bring it back to my colleagues for discussion and a motion regarding item D1. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that this city stands strong when it comes to the amount of time given for any expenditure plan projects. I think we're already ahead of the game. So with that, I'll move forward to approve this item.
Second it.
Any further comment? Seeing none, motion to approve the item D1 by Councilmember Rodriguez, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. Thank you very much. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move to item D2, amendment number 2 to the West Coast Arborist Inc. Agreement for citywide tree management and maintenance services. I'm not seeing Joseph. Is Joseph going to do that? Oh,
Gabby.
For the record, I'm not Joseph. I'm
going
Gabby
through my
Salazar,
notes.
Administrative Analyst for the Parks and Community Services Department. Give me 1 second.
You got me.
Oops. All right. Again, Gabby Salazar presenting item D2 tonight, amendment number 2 to the West Coast Arborist Inc. Agreement for citywide tree management and maintenance services. So a little bit of background. On November 3rd, 2021, Council approved a 3-year contractor services agreement with West Coast Arborist Inc. The agreement was set at $150,000. The terms of the agreement allowed for the possibility of an extension of the agreement of an additional 2 years. Amendment number 1 was approved by Council earlier this year on June 19th for an additional $18,800 to address specific tree needs at Lionstown and Country Park. And now the agreement is set to expire next month on November 3rd. The city utilizes a tree maintenance contractor to oversee and perform various tasks related to the city's urban forest. This is due to the city being responsible for the maintenance of street trees within the public right-of-way and trees within parks, landscape maintenance zones, otherwise known as LMZs, open spaces, city facilities, and other city properties. And the last tree inventory assessment noted that the city had approximately more than 9,000 trees within a 16.5 square mile radius. Tree management and maintenance at this level does require higher capabilities, and some of the factors that led to contracting of this work include expertise and specialization, having staff or workers that are knowledgeable in tree assessments, things like urban forestry, arboriculture, disease control, things like that, liability management. This allows a contractor to take up that liability when injuries happen, accidents happen, budget constraints as well. Some of the workers that deal with this very specific work can earn double that of what city staff at times earn, especially when there are certification and licenses that are required. As well as efficiency and service delivery. Having a contractor that specializes in this work allows for things that need to happen immediately because they are focused in that. And then access to equipment. A lot of the time the equipment is expensive, and this allows for the city not to incur those costs of purchasing the equipment and maintaining the equipment. And then regulatory compliance. A lot of the times contractors are able to keep up with different state, local regulations a lot better than staff would. West Coast Arborists is an experienced municipal tree maintenance firm serving agencies throughout California and Arizona since 1972. They have a regional office in Fresno and currently hold tree maintenance contracts with over 300 public agencies. The city has worked with West Coast under previous agreements since 2006, and we have been pleased with their services for the entire duration of those agreements. So, increasing the scope would enable additional tree maintenance and management. The current agreement's cap of $150,000 per year limits the allowable work West Coast has been able to complete for the past years. And then since the agreement was approved in 2021, there has been an increase in cost of labor, fuel, recycling, supplies, equipment, and materials. And the agreement threshold has not increased during those last 3 years. Here's a breakdown of where the funding for the agreement would come from. There's a couple of different funds that would support this agreement: solid waste fund, landscape maintenance zones, and general fund contribution. So tonight we're recommending approving a resolution approving the Second Amendment to the agreement for tree management and maintenance services with West Coast Arborist, not to exceed $200,000 per year for an additional 2 years. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Are there any public comments regarding item D2, the West Coast Arborist Agreement? Alicia, do we have any written or Zoom comments regarding this
We have none.
D2 item? We will now close public comment and bring it back to my colleagues for comments and or a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve item D2 by Councilwoman Evans, second by Councilmember Montes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now move on to item D3, City Manager at Will Employment Agreement. This presentation will be by City Attorney Shannon Chafin.
Good evening, City Council. As you can tell, I am not Ms. Silva. However, she is not available tonight and did ask me well in advance in order to step in for her. So I'm more than happy to make the presentation this evening. We have, as you know, a city manager in our city, and the council has completed the city manager's annual performance review, and they appointed an ad hoc committee, and they went through a process of negotiating the terms for a city manager's agreement. But as with any agreement, it has to be approved in open session, and this is the opportunity to do that. The current agreement will terminate this December 2nd, which is less than, I think, 60 days away. And the council has offered the city manager continued employment with the terms captured in an at-will employment agreement under consideration tonight. So there's a summary of agreement key provisions. And unlike other employment positions, the city manager position under state law has to list all of these various employment items, and they have to be read aloud by the mayor. And you will note that many of these are very, very similar to what other staff members are receiving, but we still have to go through them. So I hope you don't mind tonight if I step through them briskly. But if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me. So the agreement term will be for 5 years. The assigned salary range will be adjusted by a 4% COLA. The city will contribute an equal amount of 4.2% of the base pay into a 457 deferred comp account on the employee's behalf, and they will continue to receive health benefits consistent with those of the mid-manager employment group. City will pay the full employer contribution to CalPERS. Currently, the employee pays a contribution plus 2.375% towards the employee contribution, and the employee will have the option to cash out 80 hours per fiscal years of unused vacation time, as long as the bank balance is at least 160 hours. The city manager will be able to participate in holiday closure between Christmas and New Year's. And in each subsequent year of the agreement, the council will consider an annual COLA adjustment between 0 and 5% at the council's discretion. If it terminated without cause, the employee will be compensated the value of 12 months salary and health benefits, not exceeding the remaining term of the agreement. So what is the fiscal impact? You can see the numbers here. with the various values assigned to those. I can always go back to that if you want, but under consideration tonight, if you desire to effectuate the agreement presented, there are two actions that have to be taken first. You have to announce the terms of the agreement, as I said earlier, and then adopt the resolution approving the agreement. And I am available for any questions if you have them.
So I'm absolved as far as having to read that over again.
What was that?
I don't need to read that over again.
I'm
correct?
so sorry you do need to read it.
You confused me because you read the thing and now I got to read it again.
You got to do it again.
Okay, not a problem. And I will do so now.
Thank you.
Item D3 is a city manager agreement announcement. If approved, the proposed city manager's at-will employment agreement will provide the following changes to existing salary and benefits. Number one, the agreement will be 5 years, beginning December 3rd, 2024. Number two, the city manager's base salary will be increased by a 4% cost of living increase, COLA, effective December 3rd, 2024. Number three, the city will pay an amount equal to 4.2% of base pay into a 457 deferred compensation plan on the employee's behalf. Number four, the city will pay the employer contribution to California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS. The city manager, number five, the city manager will be eligible to cash out up to 80 hours of vacation one time each fiscal year. Number six, the city manager will be eligible for the holiday closure between Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Number seven, the city manager will be eligible for an annual COLA between 0 and 5% at the recommendation of the city council and contingent on a performance evaluation. Number eight, termination of employment without cause will provide a severance payment equal to 12-month salary and value of health benefits not to exceed the remaining term of the agreement. At this time, we'll take public comment. Are there any members of the public wishing to comment on this item? Are there any members wishing to speak on Zoom or in written form? Alicia.
We have none, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll close public comment and bring it back to my colleagues for questions and or a motion. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Garcia. I will have to, I don't agree with all the agreement here. There are several items that I certainly want to make a comment on. I'm not in agreement with the 5 years. I think in being consistent with a lot of the work that some of this council did early on when trying to restructure certain parts of the agreement within our jurisdiction, of course, being the city manager, city clerk, and the attorney. The 5 years is a bit outside of what we had, what this council had worked on. I know that not all council was here at the time, but I certainly am not in favor of a 5 years, and I'm certainly not in favor of a 12-month salary without cause. I think in previous conversations, I think a 90-day to 120-day would be appropriate. Other than that, I certainly agree with all the other items that are posted there. For the record, I think our city manager is an excellent city manager, but at this moment, I don't feel comfortable in moving forward with those two items that I just presented.
Thank you. Are there any further comments? I will take a moment to say that, Arnoldo, it has been a pleasure working with you. Since I got on, you were hired a couple of weeks before the new city council came on board, and I was one of them. And I believe you being born and raised here has made a lot of difference in our city manager. And I totally agree with this. Regarding the 5 years agreement, you will remain an at-will employee. Which doesn't guarantee those 5 years. And just to make a clarification for anyone listening, but again, I want to thank you for your service, and I will fully support accepting this agreement between the council and yourself. Are there any further comments? Then I will ask for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve by running here, Councilmember Montes, second by Councilwoman Evans. And all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Alicia, would you call a roll, please?
Councilmember Rodriguez?
No.
Councilmember Montes?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Mejia is absent. Councilmember Villegas,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos.
Oh, yes.
Motion passes with 5 yes votes and 1 no vote.
Thank you very much, Alicia. Congratulations, Mr. Rodriguez. We will now move on to item E, administrative reports. Item E1 is the Spanish language interpretation services at city council meetings. Presentation by Alicia. And believe you have the Wordly co-founder, Kirk Hendricks.
You too, Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Alicia Gonzalez, City Clerk. And joining me this evening is Kirk Hendrickson, who's the co-founder of Wordly. I will start the presentation and then I'll hand it over to him to share information about Wordly. Give me one moment while I pull up my presentation here. Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This evening, we will be discussing the Spanish language interpretation at City Council meetings. For some background, at the September 18, 2024 meeting, Council requested an update on the use of artificial intelligence, AI-powered translation, and in-person interpretations. Our existing translation practices, the city has traditionally relied on city staff with public requests channeled through the city clerk's office. Qualified bilingual staff can provide interpretation services, specifically those at the top tier, which is tier 3. Mid-management or management staff, though ineligible for overtime, can volunteer without incurring additional cost. For tier 3 staff eligible for overtime, rates could range from $20.31 to $38.68 per hour. Flexible work schedules with prior notice may be considered, although this adjustment could impact regularly scheduled daily work assignments. One of the questions that was asked at the last meeting was to do research on Spanish and also the translation of Punjabi. And with that, currently the city does not have any staff available to provide translation in Punjabi. And now going to the virtual accessibility, I'll touch on this a little bit and then I'll pass it over to Kirk and he can elaborate more on their system. Wordly is an AI-based tool offering real-time multilingual translation via personal device. It provides instant translation during meetings via audio and text. It supports over 60 languages, including Spanish and Punjabi, requires minimal staff involvement once set up. And for the initial Wordly account setup and training cost is $500 per month. For the first month is $500 and then $9,450 annually for 70 hours across all languages. Should the council require additional alternatives, I think I'm missing a slide. I'm going to pass it over to Kirk Hendrickson to elaborate a little bit more on Wordly. Kirk, are you there?
Absolutely.
Great. Let me close out this and let you share your screen.
Wonderful. Well, Mayor, council members, city staff, we are so delighted for the opportunity to share with you a little bit about Wordly and the Wordly system. As mentioned, I'm Kirk Hendrickson. I am one of the co-founders of Wordly. We started in 2019 to try to help organizations and cities, municipalities provide greater language inclusion throughout or for public meetings and conferences, events, and et cetera. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you, just a second, my Zoom is insisting on a password here.
I believe you muted yourself, sir. Kirk, I believe
my screen.
You muted yourself.
Yes.
There we go.
No, hopefully you can hear me now. Are you able to hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. That was just the password that Zoom was requesting of me. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is that our goal is to make community meetings more inclusive. And one of the things you can do through live AI translation and captions is to do exactly that. we have, and one of the things that I want to do today is give you a chance to experience the two primary ways that different communities use AI captions through Wordly to provide this greater language inclusion. You're already seeing on the screen where we're able to share with you translation of everything that I am saying. So captioning in English, translation into Spanish, and translation into Punjabi. Wordly supports 61 languages simultaneously. In addition, as an individual that's on the in the room, you can also scan the QR code that you see there. That is the live QR code for what we have here. If you'd like to give it a try yourselves, you can scan that on your mobile phone. It will then prompt you to select a language. Once you have selected the language, then you can enter and see. You can click attend and then see directly on the Wordly system itself on that website just how whatever we're saying here translated into that language. In addition, if you happen to have a headset, you can wear your headset, and one of the things that you can do is you can then listen along in the language of your choice as well. So you could actually listen to the Spanish translation, listen to the Punjabi translation, or listen to the translation in any of the 61 supported languages. Now, our goal, as I mentioned, is to try to create greater language inclusion across public meetings and many different areas. What happens is literally there are millions of daily meetings that are happening all over the world that are truly multilingual meetings, as you've demonstrated in your own council meeting this evening, where we've had presentations in both English and Spanish. This is happening at council meetings all over the country. But it is quite challenging sometimes to provide the support that's necessary to really provide the language support needed for all of the members of the community. As was pointed out, that while you have great access to Spanish translation capabilities, the access to the interpreters for Punjabi, for example, are just much more hard to find, if at all possible to find. And so what happens is that results in a limitation in inclusion. And our goal with what we're doing is to try to really solve this through providing an affordable solution that's easy to use, that provides you high quality results and high quality translation, both in writing and also being able to allow people to listen in the language of their choice. Now, with a community like Madera, of course, with the 81% of the population of Madera being Hispanic, many people do not speak English as their first language at home or even speak English at all in a community. It is absolutely necessary to, if you wish to allow residents to participate in the civic life, to be able to have this greater access to language. Within the ability with the Wordly system, this gives you the ability to allow different members of your community to both hear and speak in the language of their choice as part of the public meetings. Within a diverse community, that diverse community wants to be heard. And we, through the Wordly system, want to enable you to allow all members of your community to be heard. With a consistent solution like what we have with the AI-based solution here in Wordly, it makes it very easy to make all meetings language inclusive, allowing people to both follow along in the language of their choice, as well as provide public comment in the language of their choice. With this AI-powered solution, we've talked about quite a bit, and I'm showing you right here. I'm a strong believer in showing you what it's really like, giving you the chance to see it here on the screen, and also if you wish to have followed it along directly from your own mobile device. It makes it easy to use and gives you the power of 61 different languages just directly in your own hands. This is one of the reasons why many communities throughout California and the world, including the county of Madera, are using Wordly to support a variety of different public meetings. So with that, I want to conclude my remarks, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now.
Thank you. If there's any members of the public that wish to comment on this item, would you please do so now? I find this fascinating, by the way. Señor Montes.
I just want to make a brief comment. I think it was last time a few meetings back, they were arguing about or discussing about what will be better if AI or somebody in person. And I was a pastor in a church in Madera for years, and we translate a lot. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, Reverend Ascaño, that he was a translator for the court for many, many years. And I asked him one time, hey, how it goes when you translate? And he goes like, if we do live, we're going to lose something. It's not going to be 100%. It's not accurate, So in my view, what I understood last time, I think it's cheaper to have AI, and I think now it's getting better, very good. It's getting very good. I know that we have different opinions and different lines and all that, but I think the city must see what is more fit to help the people and also to save money without leaving too much, that we don't help the people. But I think I'm for it. And I was talking to some people, hey, what do you think about these? And we talk about it. And I think people are more prone to accept AI because it's getting, awesome. It's going to be better, in my opinion. And I think, if we try to put somebody in person, we're still going to lose some interpretation. And the problem will be, I was interpreting in jail, to a lawyer, Mr. Mortimer. I don't know if some of you know him. And when you say some things in English and you translate them in Spanish, they don't have the same meaning. You have to be more explicit or accurate, and especially people that don't understand, because we have here, as we hear in the meetings, people that don't even understand Spanish. So you have to be very careful. And I know some of the council members, they for one thing and the other, but I think they got to get together and probably see what is more convenient for the city and for the people. And in my opinion, AI will be a lot better. That's my comment.
Gracias. Are there any further public comments? Do we have any written comments, Alicia, or on Zoom?
We have none, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Then we will close public comment and bring it back to my colleagues. I'm not sure if Mr. Rodriguez or Mr. Montes was first. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And Kurt, thanks again for the presentation. I'm starting to think ahead here that maybe I bring my earphones and start taking a French class here while I'm at the City Council. But it certainly provides that avenue, right, for those that want to, get to listen to the City Council in their native language. And, like you said earlier, 80% of the folks here are Latino or Hispanic that speak the language. I think we had mentioned somewhere where 48% on our last meeting. I think that was some of the data that was presented. But either way, the question that I have is, I currently have your app, and I'm going through it, and it's doing exactly translating it in Spanish exactly. So you had mentioned that this can also be converted to audio. So how is that? Do you have to have your ear set in order for you to get the audio? Because I'd like to see how, if there's an example of how this would work out. If you have your mobile device, are you able to hear that and repeat it back to you in Spanish?
That's exactly what it allows you to do. It does allow you to repeat it back to you in whatever your preferred language is. Now, the reason we encourage the use of the headsets is because if you want to have someone on their speaker, we don't necessarily want to have someone on their speakerphone in the middle of the chambers. So that's why we do encourage and the headset. So if you do happen to have your headset with you, what you'll see is in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there is a little speaker icon that is currently muted. If you put your headset in and unmute it, and then what you'll see is that in a few seconds, it's going to start speaking to you in whatever language it was that you have chosen. Now, what you're going to hear is the entirety of what was shown here on the screen. So it's just simply going to speak whatever we are seeing the translation.
And that was to my point is, do you have to have an ear set, assuming someone's at home and wants to...
If they're at home, then there are some ways that you can provide them with that same link. So at home, of course, you could give the QR code as well. Some of the other municipalities that we work with will also provide the link. The QR code is effectively just a web URL that takes you to a website. So some of them will say, for instance, in their Zoom chats, they'll put the link, or even when they publish the addenda, they'll indicate here's the link that you can go to if you would like to follow along. And then you can open it in any web browser window. And at home, you can just simply unmute it, and then you'll be able to follow along in that language of your choice by listening.
I think, and that's the question I have. I don't know if tonight with this demo you have it unmuted, because I've unmuted it. I'm just trying to see.
I was listening to it. So you just unmute your phone, hit the.
Excuse me, Kirk, can we give an example of that this evening to play?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and set that up. Just give me a moment here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to open a new window, and then I'm going to go to the website here. So it's the attend.wordly.ai website. And then what we need to do is I'm going to change it to Spanish for now. So let's change it to Spanish. And then what we need is the session ID. So let me just take a second here and grab my session ID. I need to get to the right. Sorry, there's a it will just take a moment to get this set up, but just please give me a moment here. So we have.
Councilmember Rodriguez, to answer your question, I think if you're at home and you want to put this on your surround sound, you can do that and watch a council meeting live. Yes. I think that's part of the question. So yes.
Entonces tenemos al concejal Rodríguez para responder a su pregunta. Creo que si está en casa y quiere poner esto en su sistema de sonido envolvente, puede hacerlo y verlo. Quiero ponerlo todo en vivo. Sí, creo que es parte.
So were you able to hear that? All right.
Yes, yeah. Yes, actually, that's pretty impressive. Matter of fact, I think, I can't express how this would help with a lot of the other organizations that I'm sure, Troy, you're starting to follow that, right? So maybe that could be something that we can certainly use, but I'm very impressed with that. Yeah, I like it. I thank you, Councilmember Montes, for giving me that heads up. I did need to unmute my phone. Yeah, button. I did. Thank you.
Councilmember Montes.
All right. So thank you, Kurt. First question for you. Are you AI?
Are you real or you're
right? You laugh, so I don't know if I can do that.
I'm very much real. So
okay, thank you. No, I had a couple questions in seriousness. Is there going to be any cost to any user? So, what we were able to hit the link. I didn't download anything, and it worked almost immediately.
That's correct.
Is that something that is always going to be available, or in the future, is somebody going to have to be a subscriber, download an app? Because there are times that, myself, sometimes the apps don't work, and in real time, it's kind of hard to get all that sorted out if somebody's trying to get connected in the beginning of a meeting.
Yeah, that's a great question, because we are committed to inclusion, and inclusion means with language, and that means making it as universal as possible for people to use it. So apps are absolutely not something that we ever want to have an attendee have to use. It's always about being able to go to a simple website. You can use it literally on any browser. We do not, if you notice, by doing that, we do not collect any information about the person attending. They get to remain anonymous and private, and they're attending and following along in this. We do not have any way that we charge them. They're not charged for this. It is, and that's just fundamental. As a co-founder of Wordly, where we launched commercially in 2019, that has always been our policy, to maintain, allow people to join easily and make this a good experience for them to be included in the conversation that in the past they may have been excluded from because of language barriers.
Okay, thank you. And on the text to speech, is there a speed control? Because I was listening while they were talking, and it was, I speak Spanish, maybe not the best, but it was hard for me. Like, it was going really fast.
So part of that is that we have to maintain sort of the cadence, and so sometimes you're going to see it's going to be a little faster to try to catch up. Because as you go from one language to another, there is a bit of it does increase how much. Some languages are slightly more verbose than others. Some are very much more verbose than others. Now, what an interpreter typically does is that they summarize, whereas we literally capture every word that's being said and then translate the entire meaning of the sentence as completely as we possibly can. And so that's why occasionally it's going to be a little bit faster in whatever language you're listening to, is that we have to catch up. But that's because we're trying to make as little latency between the speech and the text as possible.
Okay. And then, so I guess my next question kind of leads into this one. Is this archivable? So we have the link on this, right? So this is going to be available, like this meeting and what you put on the screen, it will be available on our YouTube channel in the future. If somebody clicks it, then are they going to be able to access that, say maybe 6 months from now, a year from now? Is it all dependent on our subscription? Or are those kind of like always going to work, or does it have to be when it's happening?
So there's two aspects to it. Right now, what we're doing is we're experiencing the live piece. So for example, if you went to when this gets posted on YouTube, if you scan that QR code, it won't provide you with anything. It'll be a blank screen because nothing is happening at that session live. Now, you will obviously see the translations that have been sharing on the screens here. The other thing that you will receive is a transcript of the session. So what most of the municipalities do is they'll take the transcripts of the session, translate them into the desired language, and upload them along with the YouTube video. So what this will do is provide subtitle options for any of the languages uploaded.
Okay, so then it'll be essentially the city's responsibility to do the archiving and dissemination of that information.
Yes, I mean, the transcript we generate, but yes, you would, because we don't have access to your YouTube channel, you would need to be the ones uploading that, correct?
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor Garcia. Councilman Montes took my question, but at this time, I would also like to thank Councilwoman Mejia for championing this idea of getting more translations for our community, and thank Councilman Rodriguez, who said, "Hey, let's look at Wordly. It's a new thing," and so that's just a shout out to both of those council members. Thank you.
Councilwoman Evans.
Yes, I wanted to ask, so this is only going to pertain to us here in the council, in this chambers. So just say that if we went to League of Cities, could we still log on to this right here, or is this only for us here?
The QR code would be specific to the meeting.
Okay.
Not to... it would just be specific to our meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was curious about. Okay, thank you.
I find this, if you give me a moment, I find this fascinating. I've been reading along in the Spanish translation because I don't know Punjabi. It is rather cumbersome to read it, particularly when someone's speaking fast and it's translating everything very quickly. But I think that can be solved by listening to the audio. The audio will definitely help. But for someone who wants to be able to read it, it's available. The translation is excellent. I mean, it is. I'm very. I can read Spanish very well and I can write it well. So the translation is excellent. And I'm looking at the Punjabi, and for our community, that's going to be a benefit. We're not always going to be using the Punjabi, but because we have it available for our community, I believe that they'll be wanting to access the Punjabi language when they have their issues or they bring their issues to our city council. So I'm very impressed. Now that I see it live, I'm very impressed. And I think it'll start to alleviate some of the problems that we've had regarding the whole question about translation. And I think that, again, I'd like to see us move forward with this in some way, shape, or form, and we'll have those discussions in the future. So thank you for that presentation. Councilmember Montes.
Yeah, Councilwoman Evans' question kind of led me to another question as well. So if somebody likes this software, right? Maybe somebody from the public, and can they use it, or would they have to have a subscription like the cities to translate, like the League of Cities, right? Like if they go there to kind of do it in real time, is that an option? And obviously someone would probably have to pay for that, but is that a service that that Wordly provides as well?
Well, I mean, we support yes, you would need a subscription. So effectively, the basic idea is that there's always a host. So tonight I happen to be providing the host, but you would in the future be the host. As long as you have a host, it can be literally any meeting, any interaction. I mean, we are working with some municipalities that are even using this at service desks where people are coming in and asking for, say, for instance, building permits. And one of the municipalities we are working with, they have a large Filipino community that speaks Tagalog, and they're in asking for building permits, business permits, et cetera, where they really need to be able to communicate in Tagalog. So they've used Wordly to do one-on-one interactions between that individual who's speaking Tagalog and the city staff member that is helping them answer their question about the permits or the et cetera. And so you can use that on that interaction level all the way to large meetings, conferences. Just somebody has to have a host, and that host is the one who's providing the account. Now, these are portable, so if you did want to say, we're going to sponsor and support this meeting with our host account, that's absolutely something that can be done. So it's just really up to you how you wish to use that. But somebody will have to host, and they will need an account with Wordly to do that. But that's the only person who ever needs the account is the host.
Yeah, so like
don't need accounts.
A regular, just a citizen won't have this in their pocket at $9,000 just to go and walk around translating.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I was going to follow up on that. So if we are the city of Madera is the host, then we can provide that to the police department, and they'll access the city of Madera, and they can use it at the police department. We could use that with code enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. Am I correct?
That's going to cost.
That's what I'm understanding. The quote we received, or the quote I requested, was for the hours for council meetings. So if we want to expand that, that's another discussion.
Correct.
Sure.
Yes.
So thank you, Alicia. The city currently has translators at the police department, and if a police officer is not available, the chief is here, but we do have a service that we currently pay for, and that's available for Spanish and I believe other languages as well. Am I correct in saying that, Chief?
For dispatch.
So for dispatch. So we currently do have a service for that. That's not to say we cannot explore this, but I definitely just want to clarify that we currently have services.
We do have everything in place.
Yeah, we sure do, Mayor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that helps. Thank you. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Garcia, and thanks this council for all their comments and questions. Kurt, now this is a subscription, so like anything else, I mean, I'm subscribed to a phone. I have unlimited data, unlimited phone. What's the unlimited deal? I mean, that hasn't been presented, because if this city can utilize it in a form that it benefits all of our constituency and our departments without having to worry about hours, is there such a thing where any of these cities take advantage of that? Any of your participating cities. And I mean that in a way where, this service can certainly expand to different departments. You talked about code enforcement, police department, maybe neighborhood watch or something. We're out there, or someone and staff is out there trying to communicate, and you have an array of languages that can be translated in just in seconds. So I look at it more like a benefit for the community. But what kind of subscription packages is there? I'm just curious to ask.
So all of our subscriptions are hour based. There is no unlimited option, but there are different types of hours depending on your type of usage, and some of them are less expensive than others. And we're happy. My colleague Brandon, who is on here, has been having the discussions so far about rates. We're happy to talk about those with different use cases. But yeah, everything, there is no municipality we work with that has an unlimited plan, because there is no unlimited plan.
Sure. Well, I mean, at this time, I think the initial conversation was for the city council meetings, and I think that's what was brought before us here. I mean, we can certainly explore all other hours for all other services and departments, but I'm pretty pleased with what I've seen today, what I've heard. And like the mayor said, I'm pretty fluent in Spanish. I read and write, and quite frankly, it's very, very impressive. And I'm glad to say that I hope we do initiate this program for the benefit of our community. Again, this is not only for Spanish immediately, but 65 other languages. So I think that was my cue there to stop talking. So
He said your time is up.
I'll stop there and thank you again. Appreciate that.
Translate it into music. Do we have any further questions? Arnoldo, is there anything else you'd like to?
There's nothing else that I would like to add, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. So there is. Usually we don't, but Mr. Montes, if you want to come on up, and I think your contribution has been acceptable tonight. So.
I just want to have this question just to.
He said pass the mic.
Pass it on to the community. I like it the way they translate it, and that's the way we translate in the church. The person was speaking, and somebody else live was speaking right after him. Like, let's assume that we have the council had a meeting where we have 40 people that speak Spanish only. Do you going to have 40 headsets, or you can translate the way that they did the sample right now? So we can pass it on to the community. See what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? It's got to be only with a headset, or they can translate, or like with the example they give right now. She was speaking and then they translate live. It can be both or just one.
It's real times, but they would likely have to not be in the same room.
No, I understand that they can be, but what I'm saying is, like, if we have 40 people here that don't understand English and there's not enough headsets,
They can bring their own headphones.
Yeah, so they would be required to bring in their own headsets if they choose to use the audio. If they say, I'm going to go into the meeting and I want to hear it, I don't want to read it, they are going to be required to bring in their own headphones.
So that means it's not going to be play like you guys did the sample. Okay.
No.
Okay. Just to tell people if they ask.
Yes, so they'll be able to bring in their phones. They can either look at it via text, or they can bring in their headphones and they can listen to it through their own headphones.
And I think that's important because nowadays with the devices that we have, they all have different types of plugs to get your head. So there's earbuds, there's Bluetooth, and there's wired. So depending on their devices, it could be, we don't have different types of devices for different types of headsets for different devices. I don't know if there's a universal one that has 4 different plugs, but right now I think if it was universal, it'd be a lot easier.
And I think that's going to be the responsibility of staff if we do select this moving forward, that we're going to, have to be, we're going to have to promote this and make sure, we have the QR code on our agendas or the link, and to also remind our community, these are your options. This is how you can participate. We're going to encourage you to bring in personal devices. If you do, don't forget your headsets, but we're going to have to be the promoters of that.
I'm going to be doing a lot more reading in my, okay. So do we need to provide some type of direction here as to Councilmember Rodriguez?
That's my button to say that I'm good.
Okay.
So for purposes of clarification, are you directing staff to come back with maybe options for using Wordly and the amounts for selection by the city council, or even a potential agreement?
Very good, Shannon. Very good.
I'm seeing nods. I just want to make sure.
Yes, I think we have direction for that.
Already, thank you.
Can you read minds now, Mr. Liu?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kurt. We look forward to seeing this happen at some place, and we might be the first community ever to do an unlimited. You never know.
Well, thank you. It was an honor to be able to speak to you today, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. We are delighted, and we do hope that we can support you and the City of Madera's goal to make your city more language inclusive in the future. So thank you so much for the time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will move on. Make sure we got that. We will now move on to item E2, select a recipient for the proclamation of the month of November. Request for council selection of a recipient for the proclamation recognizing Small Business Saturday. Alicia?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Alicia Gonzalez. Tonight I bring before you the selection of recipients for the proclamations in the month of November. Council adopted a policy governing ceremonial document guidelines in August of 2023. On December 20th, 2023, Council approved the 2024 list of annual proclamations. Council also discussed and approved certain proclamations would be labeled as recipient at the discretion of Council. This evening, staff is requesting that Council select a recipient for the proclamation recognizing Small Business Saturday for the month of November. Small Business Saturday is recognized on November 30th, 2024, which our meeting in November, we only have one scheduled, is scheduled for the 20th of November. And I'll now turn it back over to Council for discussion.
Do we have any members of the public wishing to make a comment regarding item E2, recipient of the proclamation for the month of November? Alicia, do we have any Zoom or written comments?
We have none, Mayor.
We'll bring it back to council for comments and a motion. I would like to nominate Madera Cleaners and Laundry. They are a longstanding dry cleaning service in our community for many, many years, and they're right across from the police department. And every time I walk in there, as a police officer or a correction officer or a deputy, they're ahead of me getting their dry cleaning done, and they do a very good job. So I would like to have them included in the queue. Are we asking for multiples? Each council member can nominate if you wish, if you would like to. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I do, Mayor. Plaza Flower Shop's been in the city of Madera for probably 5+ decades and providing flowers for all sorts of occasions, positive holidays, and also takes care of this community when a loved one passes. And that's important that we have that in this community. Flower shops are kind of going away. Their flowers are expensive, but we still do it because it's joy. We saw tonight with the roses, beautiful roses, and everybody lights up. Even if they're not getting them, they light up. So Plaza Flower Shop would be the one that I would nominate. Okay. Thank you.
No, we can get, if you also want to include a small business, because remember, this is for small businesses in the month of November. Yeah. So
I would want to put in Taco Express. They are very engaged in the community. They've sponsored sports teams. I think they sponsored our robotics team right next to the high school. It's actually my daughter's one of her favorite restaurants. But okay. No, they do give back to the community as well as a small business. I know they're always packed, but it can't be easy for them, right? And they're still giving back to the rest of the community. So I would like to recognize that.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to recommend, even though he said taco, but I'd like Taco de Casa on Cleveland and Lake.
Tacos Nessa?
No matter when or where, especially like on the weekends, you can call at any point in time and just say, I need, and they provide. So.
Okay. Alrighty. Nessa. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, hey.
That's cool.
I need to translate the thing back in front of me now.
Do you have any that you'd like to?
No, I don't have it in mind right now.
Okay. Jose?
I can't, there's so many of them out there that it'd be hard for me to name just one. I think you guys, this is a good opportunity for us to showcase these small businesses in November. Come next year, hopefully we have a lot more. If we start doing it all, then we'll run out of them. So let's keep some for next year as well.
I thought we're going to run out of them. Did you make a note of those, or do you need us to help you out a little bit?
We're good.
Okay. All righty.
Mr. Mayor, if I can think of one, I'll reach out to you. And if you want to reach out, right now at this moment, I apologize.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Well, thank you very much. That will do for that. I believe we're in agreement. We will now move on to item E3, Madera Sub-Basin Joint Groundwater Sustainability Plan, GSP, Department of Water Resources, DWR, review of the annual report for water year 2003. Keith, do you have this item? Or do you have a designee?
I had a muted mic. So thank you, Mayor, council members. This is a council update for the Department of Water Resources review of the annual report for the water year 2023. Let's see, that's not going to work the way it's supposed to. There we go. Anyway, a little bit of background. Madera Joint GSP submits an annual update to the Groundwater Sustainability Plan, the GSP, by April 1st every year. The Department of Water Resources, also known as the DWR, reviews the update. The Joint GSP's point of contact, the point of contact is a consultant that the 4 GSAs from our GSP hire. That point of contact works between our GSAs and the DWR, and basically functions as go-between, attends other meetings that are helpful for us as well. Anyway, the Joint GSP became aware of the review letter dated May 31st on or about September 13th. Apparently that letter was on a DWR website, but it was never sent out. So one of our consultant team members had spotted that. A bit of a discussion. The staff report was prepared in advance of additional research to ensure that the letter would be on this council meeting rather than another few weeks from now. An annual update and the review letters would not necessarily result in a need to update council. This letter struck staff a little bit differently in that there was some indications that they could go ahead and declare the basin as being inadequate. Particulars about this: it was the first annual report reviewed by the DWR since we had a revised GSP, and then that was accepted by the DWR. DWR's review alerted staff to concerns that was uncertain could be adequately addressed in the time frame requested by DWR. As we work through this presentation, you'll see that I'm much less concerned than I was when I reviewed the letter the first time. In an apparent response to staff concerns expressed at a Monday meeting, Paul Goslin, he's the author of the letter from DWR, and also he indicated in a phone call with our GSP point of contact that the annual reports are not actionable. That's true. I don't see anything in the letter that says it's actionable. The letter was not intended to be a threat, though there are portions of the letter that imply that we could be heading in the wrong direction if we didn't respond the way the letter would like us to see. The subbasin will not be headed to the State Water Resources Board per Paul Goslin. And this was the first opportunity for the DWR to actually provide us some comments. So they provided comments, though they looked, they made me a little bit nervous on first review. Some of their comments was the Madera Sub-Basin is exceeding minimum threshold set within the Groundwater Sustainability Plan. There was a lack of progress on a number of actions or plans. I'm going to hit these a little bit more detail in a couple more slides. There were 37 dry well reports for the 2023 water year throughout the sub-basin. I generally keep track of those reports, and I've seen about 13 in the last 30 days, and they're coming through fairly regularly, especially this year, since I think that we've had hot weather. The farmers are probably pumping a bit more, and we're probably pumping a little bit more in the city as well. And this request for information was tied to their ability to conclude that the GSP will meet sustainability goal. In other words, the groundwater subbasin will be sustainable by the year 2040. Otherwise, it's possible that the subbasin could be declared as inadequate. Another area, well, this is not an area of possible concern. I just thought I'd go ahead and give a definition for inadequate. For GSP to have deficiencies that will take more than 180 days for the GSA to address, in this case would be the GSP, an inadequate GSP can trigger the state intervention process, which authorizes the State Water Board to step in and manage the basin. Should our subbasin GSAs be concerned? Well, the subbasin GSP PC consultant did prior to that phone call, we had a meeting with the other GSAs and the consultant on Monday. They indicated a few things that suggested we shouldn't be concerned. For one, minimum threshold set within the GSP. The DWR spoke of the minimum thresholds. However, our point of contact indicated that it's probably interim milestones that are more important. The interim milestones are actually a lower depth of water table than the minimum thresholds, and we haven't actually touched those. Those are set. Essentially, they give a minimum, an interim milestone about every 5 years inside the report, and we don't really want to touch that. But there are other criteria that says if you exceed the minimum thresholds with too many wells, that could be an issue. And I think that the DWR was focusing on that when they possibly didn't need to. They also note a lack of progress on a number of the action plans, of actions or plans. And I suspect that's a result of the lawsuit that was brought by the California United Water Coalition against Madera County. So it was 3 years ago that Madera County did a Proposition 218 with agricultural land primarily to look for a assessment to help them implement these plans and actions. It wasn't long after that they were successful on that there was a lawsuit. And that lawsuit, a judge did place an injunction on the ability for the county to collect fees. So they have not had the ability to collect those fees. The county, I think, feels relatively confident that they'll be getting past this. The 37 dry well reports for 2023, again, we know 13. That becomes important because the number of dry wells that are brought up or identified, ultimately we will have a mitigation plan as a subbasin to go ahead and help private property owners, usually smaller ones, pay for new wells. So that can become important to the GSP and to the GSAs included in that. As with regard to the additional information, during the Monday meeting with our point of contact, he indicated that they feel comfortable that they will be able to provide additional information. Some of that's coming from new wells. In speaking with the county, they do have an upcoming presentation that will show between the years 2020 and 2023, there was a 20% decrease in ETAW. And that is a little bit complicated one. I've been trying to get a handle on that for some time, but essentially it's the evapotranspiration of applied water. You apply water to the ground, the plants use it, some of it soaks into the ground and some of it evaporates. And then they're showing a 15% decrease in irrigated agricultural land. These last points weren't included in the last annual report. They will be coming into the next annual report. So in general, I'll go ahead and say our point of contact feels confident that there shouldn't be an issue there. So we have the point of contact and we also have the DWR during a phone call saying that we probably don't have any issues. As far as the inadequate definition or the inadequate designation, it seems at this point highly unlikely, at least in the near term, that there will be a designation. The factors that could change this would be a successful lawsuit against Madera County. If the lawsuit is successful, Madera County wouldn't have the funds to go ahead and do some of their actions and plans. A consequence of GSP inadequate determination. I had this in this report here prior to getting what I consider good information, but I thought I'd go ahead and pass it along. What does it mean? It is believed by staff that a timeline would be set to address inadequacies. That would possibly be 180 days, depending upon the urgency DWR believes to exist. Right now, we don't seem to, I think we can answer everything, so the 180 days would not be an issue. We may not even need the 180 days. If inadequacies cannot be cured, the State Water Resources Control Board, the board, could place the subbase on probation after notice and public hearing. Will the board move forward? Staff doesn't believe that that's likely at this point in time. In summary, this was just an update, and based upon the research since staff report was completed, determination of inadequate seems highly unlikely in the near term. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Keith. As Keith mentioned, this is an informational report only. Do we have any members of the public wishing to discuss this item? Alicia, do we have any written or Zoom comments on this item? Item E3?
We have none, Mayor.
Then we'll close public comment and bring it back to my comments, to my colleagues. Do you have any comments regarding this item or questions? Councilmember Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Garcia. Keith, thank you again for that presentation. Just the last word or the last term there, inadequate. You know, and you said it's very unlikely, especially in the near term. So I have seen that Tulare County has been put on probation with their GSAs. What could be the ramifications of the state overseeing our basins? I mean, is there something that could potentially affect this city or this GSA?
If they were to find that they're going to go that far and declare inadequate and then place the city on probation, so to speak, they might very well exclude the city. They might very well exclude another GSA or two and focus on the GSA that they believe is the GSA that is resulting in the subbasin's inability to meet sustainability by the year 2040. One of the things that happened as a result of that lawsuit, with the county not being able to move forward with some of their projects, those projects represent about 40% of the goal that they need for sustainability, and that was about 2% a year for the first several years, and then after about year 2026, it was supposed to be reduced by about 6% a year. So those particular actions have now been placed back. With regard to the city, our two projects that were in the GSP were to implement the Berry Basin in partnership with the Madera Irrigation District. That's been in place for several years now, and it has been paying off in terms of the ability to recharge. A lot of water has gone into that basin. We're also off the books, not though we mentioned it in our annual reports. We also have the golf course water hazard that is filled up in partnership with the Madera Irrigation District. And our last project is the water meters. We're probably 95% complete with that. So the city of Madera has done what it said it would do as part of the GSP. So likelihood is we're looking good. They would probably exclude the city of Madera.
But, and you know, I think it's because we're within this whole sub-basin. So I think, like you said, for those deficiencies that these GSAs are not partaking, in this case, it would probably be the county that they would be looking at and other GSAs that are not partaking in trying to get to a level that's desired by 2040. But that certainly, I mean, and thank you for saying that, because I think that certainly wouldn't bring ramifications for the city. But again, we're given the autonomy to try to do this as a whole. But unfortunately, if certain deficiencies are not met, then, you know, then we could be governed by the Department of Water Resources, correct?
We could be. Unfortunately, the county has been hamstrung by that lawsuit. And one of the things that was noted recently, another subbasin, there was a lawsuit and the assessments were held. The agency appealed and those assessments were released, and the farmers that were not paying, farmers that were not paying the assessments, they had a fairly hefty amount of money due for what was not paid in the time in which there was a injunction against the fees or assessments.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate your thorough presentation. Thanks, Ken.
You're very welcome.
Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll close this item. Thank you very much, Keith.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Mayor.
Any members of the council wanted to go back to item F? I'm not sure if anybody wants to future agenda items. If not, we'll move on. Alrighty, we will now move on to council member communications and reports. This portion of the meeting is reserved for the mayor and council members to make brief reports on boards, committees, and other public agencies and at public events, and to make announcements. Councilwoman Mayor Pro Tem Gallegos.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I would like to thank Nick Salinas and Sunrise Rotary for the great event on Saturday, the Old Timers Day Parade. Wow, it was well attended, a lot of floats, a lot of happy faces coming down that parade. Thank you to the police department and fire department for having those vehicles out for council and for the public and the community to see. One last thing, I would like to thank the family that's hung in there with us tonight. Usually our meetings go sometimes to 10 or 11, so it looks like we're going to end a little early tonight, but thank you for being here with us tonight. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Well, not if I can help it. We still have some. No, I'm only. So no, you're good. Thank you again for participating, and thank you very much, kids. First and foremost, I also want to thank Alicia and everyone that took place took effort in the Old Timers Day Parade. I think it was a great turnout. It's always good to see my colleagues and all these floats that come around. I think we saw Councilmember Artemio out there with the mariachi suit, which is always very interesting. But thank you again. He did a great suit. Oh, I'm sorry. The charro suit. The charro suit. Sorry about that.
We need the translation services.
Right. Okay. So the charro suit, I think you did a great job out there. But anyhow, I did come up, Alicia, with the small business. I'd like to nominate the vineyard. And many times, we always are having meetings there and what have you. And this gentleman's always there present, always remembering our names. And I don't think he's a big chain. He's definitely a small business. So if that's something that we can do outside of that item E2, I believe, I'd like to see if the council would agree and allow me to put that back into that deal. And then I'll seek for legal counsel if he thinks that that's a closed deal.
Yes, I'm seeing enough nods to get it on there.
Awesome. As long as we can get a free lunch.
There you go.
Okay.
And that's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Alrighty. Councilmember Montes just stepped out. Councilwoman Evans?
Yes, I would like to just say thank you to everyone that did attend the parade. It was awesome. And to my colleagues, I give you guys an A+ for all those that came out as well. Last Thursday, Mayor Pro Tem and I both attended the Education of Excellence, where Mr. Leonard Perez was nominated and awarded the Excellence for Administrator of the Year. So it was a very nice event. I had never been before, but it was well attended, and he is so very well deserving of the award that he received. And this morning at 6:30, I was at Pan Am Park, and I want to make sure it's called Walk to School. It was a Walk to School program. So we walked from Pan Am, and they had all types of activities. The kids were just having a ball. It was tug of war, and it was the sack races and the basketball, which the police department, you need to work on them, sir. They did not make baskets. The kids just ran them over. The probation department was out there. They too need help. But anyway, it was so much fun. We got to stand inside the little bus, and everybody got to chant and do all kind of fun things and all like that. And then we took a stroll to the school. Police department, all the motorcycles, everything. The kids absolutely loved it. It was a very well attended event. Then we get to the school, and then Mr. Perez gives a rally. So I just want to say that's the first one that I've ever attended, but it won't be my last. So I think Sierra Vista may be the next one. Is that one Sierra Vista next, maybe? But if you guys don't mind getting up and being there for 6:30, I've been up since 5:30 this morning. But if you get there, you will be so excited. And it was so much fun. So I just want to give a shout out to James Monroe Elementary, the parents, and everyone that came out and participated, and the health department, because they were one of the ones that put it on. So thank you, everyone. And Mr. Mayor, I hand it back over to you.
Thank you. Councilmember Villegas?
Oh, nothing to report.
Okay. I want to thank the NAACP, the Madera Chamber of Commerce, the Madera Coalition for Community Justice, and the CAPMC for hosting us at the Candidates Forum for City Council and Mayor's races. It was a very well-attended event. They were also very gracious in hosting us. I just wanted to thank you. Give a shout out to them for hosting us at that event last night. We will now move on to our closed session. Shannon, would you take us into closed session, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 3 items for closed session tonight. Item H1 is conference with legal counsel existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.921. The name of the case is City of Madera versus Summer National Venus of Madera, Inc., Real Party and Interest, Madera County Superior Court Case Number MCV 090358. Item H2 is public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, title City Clerk. Item H3 is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representatives, Mayor Santos Garcia. And I do not know how Wordly will react to that if I do it in the future. So I may need to slow that down. But for tonight, we're doing fast.
Good guy.
Yeah, you should slow that down, definitely. Well, thank you very much for everyone attending. Thank you all, and we will see you all soon. Have a safe trip home if you're going to be leaving.
We don't have a meeting next
Finos of Madera. The basic terms of the settlement agreement is the Finos waives all of its appeal rights, it dismisses and withdraws any contesting, it issues a release to the city and a waiver of any known or unknown rights, and the city in exchange will dismiss its writ of mandate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shannon. We reconvene this meeting at 9/11. Our next city council meeting is on October 30th, and the one following is November the 20th. And so we now adjourn this meeting at 9:11 p.m. Thank you very much for participating in tonight's meeting.
We're not going to have one November the 6th. Actually, oh shit.